Working faithfully 8 hours a day, you may eventually get to be the boss and work 12 hours a day. Take care to sell your horse before he dies. The art of life is passing losses on. For God himself, the height of feeling free must have been his success and smile. When at sight of you, he thought of me. The chief reason for going to school is to get the impression fixed for life that there is a book side for everything. An idea is a feat of association, and the height of it is a good metaphor. Holding the curve of one position, counting an endless repetition. A man must partly give up being a man with womenfolk. We go to school to learn what books to read for the rest of our lives. My definition of literature would be just this: words that have become deeds. The realist always falls in love with a girl he has grown up with, the romanticist with a girl from off somewhere. Nature is cruel, it's man who is sick of blood, and man doesn't seem so sick of it. It is far better for a man to go wrong in freedom than to go right in chains. All thought is a feat of association. You don't have to deserve your mother's love, you have to deserve your father's. Something there is that doesn't love a wall that sends the frozen ground swell under it. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. Grievances are a form of impatience, griefs are a form of patience. A person will sometimes devote all his life to the development of one part of his body, the wishbone. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. Nature is always hinting at us, it hints us over and over again. And suddenly we take the hint. There never was any heart truly great and generous that was not also tender and compassionate. We saw the risk we took in doing good, but dared not spare to do the best we could. No, this is no beginning, then an end. End is a gloomy word. More than once I should have lost my soul to radicalism if it had been the originality it was mistaken for by its young converts. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines. I tell him, he only says, good fences make good neighbors. They would not find me changed from him they knew, only more sure of all I thought was true. There never was any heart truly great and generous that was not also tender and compassionate. Yes, when it is not our death, you make that sound as if it wasn't so with everything. What we live by, we die by. And poems are all that matter. The utmost of ambition is to lodge a few poems where they will be hard to get rid of. Modern poets talk against business, poor things, but all of us write for money. Beginners are subjected to trial by market.
Subscribe now.
Like a piece of ice on a hot stove, the poem must ride on its own melting. Poets are like baseball pitchers, both have their moments. The intervals are the tough things. He asked with the eyes more than the lips for a shelter for the night. A breeze discovered my open book and began to flutter the leaves to look. The question that he frames in all but words is what to make of a diminished thing. You can be a little ungrammatical if you come from the right part of the country. Men work together, I told him from the heart, whether they work together or apart. Originality and initiative are what I ask for my country. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that had made all the difference. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. They are that talks of going, but never gets away. The ear is the only writer and the only true reader. But all we did that day was mingle great and small footprints in summer dust, as if we drew the figure of our being less than two but more than one as yet. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. There ought to be a view round the world from such a mountain. Nature's first grain is gold, nothing gold can stay. If we could not laugh, we would all go insane. Freedom lies in being bold. The best way out is always through. If it is with outer seriousness, it must be with inner humor. If it is with outer humor, it must be with inner seriousness. Neither one alone without the other under it will do. A poem is never a put-up job, so to speak. It begins as a lump in the throat, a sense of wrong, a homesickness, a lovesickness. It is never a thought to begin with. We can make a little order where we are, and then the big sweep of history on which we can have no effect doesn't overwhelm us. We do it with colors, with a garden, with the furnishings of a room, or with sounds and words. We make a little effort and we gain composure.